There are whispers in your soul that have no origin in this lifetime. Memories not formed by your current brain. Longings that outdate your body. Déjà vu that feels more like prophecy than coincidence. And dreams, yes, the dreams that seem like echoes from other dimensions. All of it hints at something far older, far deeper than the narrative you've been given. What if your life was not random? What if the things you call chance, the struggles you face, the people you meet, the purpose you seek, were all threads in a tapestry woven across millennia? What if there was a divine architecture, timeless, intelligent, loving, that you yourself helped to design before your birth? And what if this very moment, here and now, is a pre-written page in that eternal manuscript? Today, we step beyond time. We open the veil on a soul mystery so vast, so intimate, that once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is not just a theory, not a belief system. It is a resonance that will either echo through your bones or pass you by like wind through trees. If you've ever felt that your life was part of something much older, if you've ever sensed that your soul is not new but ancient, this message is for you. The concept of the 1,000-year soul cycle is not a metaphor. It is a map, a rhythm, a sacred spiral. Every 1,000 years, your soul completes a grand arc of experience. Not a linear timeline, but a multidimensional journey through lives, worlds, archetypes, and initiations. You are not just living this life, you are closing a 1,000-year loop, initiated long before recorded time, and carrying with you the wisdom, wounds, and codes of many incarnations. This cycle was not imposed upon you. You chose it. Before form, before name, before breath. You said yes. And now you are remembering. In this video, we will journey deep into the architecture of this cycle, why it exists, how it operates, and what it means for this very moment in your evolution. We'll explore the universal patterns etched into your soul's code, and how to reclaim your part in the divine plan you authored long ago. So, if this message stirs something sacred inside you, like a memory you can't place, or a truth you've always known but never spoken, then pause, breathe, and honor it. Like this video to anchor your presence, comment to bring your voice into this field, and subscribe if you're ready to journey deeper into the forgotten truths of your soul. To begin unraveling the mystery of the 1,000-year soul cycle, we must first step outside the illusion of time as a straight line. Time, as your mind perceives it, is but a sliver, a narrow bandwidth of a much vaster frequency. Linear time is the scaffolding of physical reality, but your soul operates on spirals, not lines, on echoes, not clocks. At the center of the 1,000-year soul cycle is a simple but powerful principle: evolution through remembrance. Across these 1,000 years, whether lived through 10 incarnations or 50, your soul is sculpting itself toward wholeness. Each life adds a new lens, a new lesson, a new flavor to the divine self you are becoming. Some lives are steeped in power, others in humility. Some are marked by silence, others by revolution. But every single one is a sacred chapter in your soul's grand curriculum. The universe is not random, it is recursive. Fractals within fractals, patterns that repeat until they are made conscious. In the soul cycle, unresolved energies from one incarnation ripple forward, not as punishment but as opportunity. Karma is not retribution. Karma is the magnetism of memory, the spiritual inertia that draws you to the exact conditions required for your soul's growth. You are never a victim of your past. You are its alchemist. There are universal archetypes that guide this cycle: the seeker, the warrior, the priestess, the healer, the rebel, the oracle, the builder, the destroyer, the starborn, the earthkeeper. In your thousand-year arc, you embody many, not in costume, but in essence. These are not roles, they are vibrational frequencies encoded into the human experience, waiting to be unlocked. Sometimes your soul chooses challenge to awaken courage. Sometimes it chooses luxury to test discipline. And sometimes, like now, it chooses awakening to remember its origin beyond all illusions. And here is a truth that may ripple through you like thunder. You are at the end of your 1,000-year cycle. This lifetime, right here, right now, is not random, it is pivotal. You chose to be born into this time of great forgetting and even greater remembering, because this is the convergence point, the soul harvest, the reckoning, the return. At the close of each cycle, the soul integrates. It gathers every fragment, every forgotten gift, every scar that became wisdom, and it chooses. Will it ascend to a new octave of being? Will it serve as a guide for others? Will it rest? Or will it dive once more into the spiral to know love through another lens? The veils between lives are thinner now. That's why so many of you feel pulled toward ancient traditions, sacred texts, and truths that have no teacher. That's why your inner world feels louder than ever. It is not your imagination, it is your remembering. There are signs, synchronicities that feel like breadcrumbs, people you meet and feel you've known forever, dreams that bleed into waking life, a sudden urge to change everything. These are not coincidences. These are soul codes activating at the appointed hour. You wrote these into your timeline to ensure you wouldn't forget. And now, you're awakening. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because the next part of this series goes even deeper. There is still more to unveil, symbols that hold the ancient truths, and myths that whisper your forgotten name. To grasp the full majesty of the 1,000-year soul cycle, we must enter the language of the soul, the language of symbol, myth, and sacred story. Because the soul does not think in words. It speaks in patterns, in metaphor, in living allegory. And what we call history, or mythology, is often the soul's autobiography, told across the stars. In nearly every ancient tradition, we find echoes of the cycle. In Hindu cosmology, we see the yugas, vast ages of time, cycling through ignorance and awakening. In the Mayan calendar, backtunes marked long epochs of transformation, culminating in portals of spiritual rebirth. In Egyptian initiatory rites, the soul journeyed through the duat, a multidimensional realm of tests and trials before reunion with divine essence. The Norse spoke of Ragnarok not as an end, but as a cyclical cleansing before renewal. The Gnostics, keepers of forbidden memory, whispered of the aeons, of Sophia's descent, and the return to divine fullness through gnosis. These were not abstract myths. They were maps, hidden truths encoded in story, meant to awaken the deeper memory buried beneath flesh and name. You see, the 1,000-year soul cycle is not just personal, it is collective. Each soul's arc contributes to the awakening of the whole. Your personal trials, though they may feel isolated, are part of a much larger mythos playing out across dimensions. Your life is a verse in the cosmic scripture. And when you remember this, when you see your own suffering, joy, and evolution as part of a sacred story, you rise out of victimhood and into authorship. Let us go deeper. Imagine a great wheel, a mandala of incarnations, with you at the center. Each spoke of the wheel is a life. One as a priestess in Lemuria, one as a soldier in Rome. One as a child who never spoke, yet carried great sight. One as a midwife, another as a prophet. One life immersed in darkness, another in light. Yet all spiral around your core essence, the timeless self who watches and remembers. This wheel spins not aimlessly, but with sacred design. And at the end of the 1,000 years, the wheel slows. You begin to see through the veils. You encounter others on your path who mirror your ancient self back to you. Teachers appear sometimes in the form of people, other times as synchronicities, symbols, or even heartbreak. The lessons become more condensed, time speeds up, and the yearning becomes unbearable because your soul knows it is nearing the threshold, the return. And what is the return? It is not death. It is not ascension in the way you've been told. The return is the embodiment of divine memory. It is waking up in the body to the truth that you were never lost, that you never fell, that every wound was part of the sculpting, that every life was perfect. Even now, the earth herself is in her own 1,000-year cycle. She, too, is remembering. That is why so many souls are incarnating now. The population has swelled not by chance, but by design. You are part of a soul convergence, an ancient reunion, the gathering of those who have come full circle and are ready to anchor a new era. You are not alone in this. You never were. And the myths? They are breathing. The dragon is not just a beast, it is your raw creative power, long buried beneath fear. The phoenix is not just a symbol, it is you, again and again, rising from the ashes of false identity. The labyrinth is not a puzzle, it is the soul's own spiral toward the center of truth. Every myth, every symbol, every ancient story has always been about you. So, listen now with new ears. See with ancient eyes. If this message stirs something ancient in your soul, subscribe, because what comes next reveals even more. The 1,000-year soul cycle is not just a distant cosmic theory, it is the silent architecture beneath your every decision, relationship, fear, and breakthrough. You may not have had words for it, but you've felt it, that sense of urgency, that pull towards something meaningful, that inexplicable knowing that your life matters more than you've been told. This is not fantasy. This is a signal, a tremor from the deep part of you that remembers the contract. So how do you live with this knowledge? You begin by honoring every experience, especially the ones you thought were mistakes. In the context of your soul cycle, there are no wasted years, no wrong choices. The relationship that broke you open? That was a soul contract meant to trigger your remembering. The job you outgrew? A sacred detour that taught you what your essence could not tolerate. Even the pain, especially the pain, is a portal. You weren't meant to stay in suffering, but to awaken through it. When you see yourself as part of a 1,000-year arc, you stop rushing, you stop comparing, you stop believing the lie that you're behind. How could you be behind? When every life is a brushstroke on your soul's eternal canvas, you are exactly where you chose to be, doing exactly what your soul needs to do in this phase of the spiral. The only question is, can you remember that in the moment? The more you remember, the more multidimensional your life becomes. You begin to see patterns not just in your own behavior, but in the world. You recognize old energies in new faces. You sense when something is karmic, and when it's truly new. And most importantly, you become a bridge between timelines. A lighthouse for others still caught in forgetting. You don't have to be perfect to be awakened. That's one of the soul's greatest illusions, confusing ascension with flawlessness. In truth, your imperfections are the very places where divinity enters. The soul's journey is not about becoming something else, it's about becoming fully yourself. Unmasked, unarmored, undeniable. In this light, your spiritual path becomes deeply practical. You start to make choices based not on fear, but resonance. You notice which environments drain you, which people echo past wounds, and which spaces ignite your future. You don't just react, you respond, with the awareness that every action echoes through timelines. And here's the shift that truly begins to change everything. You stop living just for this life. You begin to act as a guardian of your soul's legacy. You make decisions not just for your comfort now, but for the alignment of your entire being across incarnations. You ask, what will this choice echo 100 years from now? And in doing so, you collapse time. You reclaim lifetimes. You accelerate evolution. This is not an abstraction. This is your birthright. Let it reshape how you love. Let it change how you speak to yourself. Let it alter how you walk into rooms. You are not small. You are not random. You are not alone. You are a cosmic being, at the culmination of a 1,000-year spiral, here to complete a sacred vow to yourself. And so the old begins to fall away, not by force, but by remembrance. The false identities you clung to dissolve like fog under sunlight. The urgency becomes peace. The doubt becomes trust. The fear of death fades, because you remember you've done this before, and you will rise again. And now, we arrive at the threshold, not of an ending, but of a returning, a remembering, a gentle yet undeniable homecoming to the divine architecture that has always been beneath your skin, woven into your dreams, etched into the silence behind your heartbeat. You have not been wandering aimlessly. You have not been lost. You have been spiraling intentionally, bravely, and with fierce devotion toward this very moment. The 1,000-year soul cycle is not a sentence, it is a sacred design. It is not a trap, it is a temple. And it was you who chose to walk its halls, lifetime after lifetime, gathering wisdom like a honeybee collects nectar. And now, you are the nectar. You are the offering. You are the living embodiment of all that has come before. If you are still watching this, still listening, still feeling this message stir something ancient within you, then hear me clearly. You are one of the few who came to remember not just for yourself, but for the collective. You are a keeper of timelines, a guardian of soul threads. You are here not just to wake up, but to help awaken the entire human field. Do not minimize your path. Do not belittle your journey, because it doesn't look like someone else's. Your exact story, your exact wounds, your exact medicine is the missing piece in someone else's soul puzzle. You are not late. You are not early. You arrived exactly when the divine clock struck your name. So, what now? Now, you walk forward not with the burden of awakening, but with the radiance of knowing. You begin to trust the inexplicable guidance. You begin to speak what once felt too strange. You begin to live as if the soul were real, because it is. You begin to treat your thoughts, your relationships, your creations as sacred echoes that reverberate across centuries, because they do. You begin to live from your soul, not in search of it. And in this sacred embodiment, the wheel turns once more, not as a repetition, but as an evolution. You are not starting over, you are spiraling up. This is the return. This is the completion. This is the beginning of a new octave of being. So breathe, old soul. You made it. Let this message integrate not as information, but as cellular truth. Let it ripple through your choices, your voice, your presence in the world. Because the real awakening is not just remembering who you are, it is becoming it. The forgotten light in you is remembering. Don't turn away now. If this message stirred something inside you, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments. Let us remember together. Subscribe for deeper explorations, and share this message with those you know are walking the spiral path too. Your 1,000-year cycle is reaching its sacred crescendo. And from here, a new song begins.